Narrative voice is the thing that I find easiest. Obviously different writers have different skills, and I find it really tricky to create a sense of place. I know some people find that easy, but I find that hard. But in terms of narrative voice, I just find it easy. I like to listen to people, I like to talk to people, and I don't find it that hard to kind of create a voice on the page. I tried lots of different ways of doing it, and I eventually decided that it should be confessional letters, and then I tried to think of who would be the ideal kind of confidant for Zoe, or that's what you think she's called anyway. And I came up with all sorts of people, including Santa Claus and the Pope, and I was thinking, who would this desperate teenage girl write to if she's not that bothered about getting a response? And then quite late on in the process, I was driving home one day from my parents' house, and I suddenly thought about this experience that I'd had of writing to a man on death row when I was a teenager. I was 18, I wasn't confessing to any horrific crime, but I corresponded with him through an Amnesty International scheme. And I thought, oh wow, that's perfect, because I think if you're feeling really guilty and terrible about something, you would think about writing to somebody who understood those emotions and who'd done something that you consider to be equally bad. And he seemed like a better person than the Pope, for instance, who's never done anything wrong in his life and probably wouldn't understand the kind of depths that she'd sunk to. So when I got that element of the story, it all just came together really nicely, and I knew I was on the right lines with it. I think it helps the relationship with the reader if you feel like you're getting this secret insight into a character that nobody else does. So that helps to form the intimacy, I think, between the reader and the characters. But also, I do think it is quite difficult. In a way, we've never been more open because our lives are on Facebook and Twitter, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're being honest about what we're really feeling. I think there is a pressure to kind of advertise your life as though it's going absolutely fantastically well and do your own PR job on yourself, when really there's a lot of lonely people out there. So I think it's a funny time because I think we are open, but at the same time not particularly honest about how we're really feeling. So yeah, that is something that I thought about. I always say that I enjoy fantasy, but actually what I mean is I really like Harry Potter. And I read Harry Potter, I've read the Philip Pullman books, and they're really probably only the actual fantasies that I've got into, but I just happen to love them. And really, as a reader, I'm more drawn to like Meg Rosoff and Jenny Downham and those people that write very kind of, they're quite hard and gritty in one way, but they're also very beautiful and hopeful in another. So I was drawn to that as a reader. So I suppose I've inadvertently done a lot of research myself, just because that's what I tend to pick up in the shops. But I just think it's a really exciting time to be a children's or teen author, because pretty much there is an appetite out there for all sorts of different things, and people are experimenting and doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So I think if the book is good, it'll find a reader somewhere. My first book, My Sister Lives on the Mantelpiece, got nominated for lots of prizes, and it eventually won one towards the end. But I'd gone to lots and lots of prize ceremonies where I'd had to do my best loser face and clap because other people had won. And so when I came to the Waterstones Children's Book Prize, I really did not expect to win, and I just thought, well, I'll come for the canapes because, you know, the food will be good. And it was just wonderful. It was wonderful to win the category, and I was totally bowled over to win the whole thing. And it just makes you feel so much more confident. I find it really difficult to call myself an author. I never say that to anyone. If someone says, oh, what do you do? I just say, oh, I work from home, or I've written a book. But to actually be an author, it feels a bit of a jump. So it makes me feel more like a legitimate author, and it gives me the confidence to sort of trust myself and trust my books, and gives me the faith, I suppose, to keep going with what is sometimes a quite difficult career. I'm writing my third book, which is called Silence is Goldfish, and it's going really well. It's almost finished. My editor's expecting it in 2 weeks' time, so I'm hoping to meet that deadline. And it's about a girl who, as an act of rebellion, stops speaking. She can speak, but she decides to stop speaking because she's found out a family secret, and she's felt all her life this pressure to please her parents and to be a certain way, and she just decides to completely withdraw from everything and everyone that she's ever known. And it's quite challenging because she doesn't actually speak in the book. So it's quite difficult to write because obviously you've got to keep it really interesting, even though she's not engaging with other characters. But it's been a really cool experience of writing it, and it's nearly finished. So I hope everyone likes it when it comes out.